miss you guys so much. I know it's a crazy time and it's hard to make sense of what's going on. And you look around and sometimes you wonder where God even is. And so it made me think of a passage of scripture in John chapter 21. This is after Jesus' resurrection. Jesus had already appeared to the disciples 2 times, and he had told them to go wait for him in Galilee. So the disciples were waiting in Galilee, probably looking around, kind of like us, wondering, where are you? Why haven't you shown up yet? So I'm just going to read to you from John chapter 21. After this, Jesus revealed himself again to the disciples by the Sea of Tiberias. And he revealed himself in this way: Simon Peter, Thomas, called the twin, Nathanael of Cana in Galilee, the son of Zebedee, and 2 others of his disciples were together. Simon Peter said to them, "I am going fishing." They said to him, "We'll go with you." They went out and got into the boat. So Peter was kind of an impulsive guy. We can see that through scripture. And I can imagine, the Bible doesn't tell us what he was thinking, but Peter's like, I just can't sit around waiting around. I got to do something. So he says, I'm going to go fishing. That's what he knew. That's what he knew before Jesus came into his life. So he went back to what he knew. And I thought about how true that is in my life. When things aren't going right, it can't make sense, I'm waiting on God, like, where are you? I tend to go back to those things that I knew before. Those old thought processes, behaviors, habits, and all those things that at least I thought were working before Jesus came along. But listen what it says. But that night, they caught nothing. So Peter was like, this was his thing, right? Fishing, he knew fishing. But this must have been like, I'm sure in Peter's past life of fishing, there were times they probably didn't catch much, right? But this time must have been crazy disappointing. He had been with Jesus. He'd seen the miracle of fishes they caught before, and this time there was nothing. And so it really probably wasn't making sense at all to Peter now. It's like, even fishing doesn't make sense, right? And so when I think about myself, think about all those old habits and thoughts that I tend to get into when I'm trying to make sense of everything in my own mind, but it kind of produces nothing. It leaves me feeling like things still aren't making sense. But listen to this. Just as day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, "Children, do you have any fish?" They answered him, "No." He said to them, "Cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some." So they cast it, and now they were not able to haul it in because of the quantity of fish. That disciple whom Jesus loved, therefore, said to Peter, "It is the Lord." When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he was stripped for work, and he threw himself into the sea. And I love this, Peter's characteristics coming out again, his impulsiveness. But, it says he threw himself into the sea. Some translations say cast himself or plunged himself into the sea. So it just made me think in my mind, that kid, the first day of summer, they've been cooped up and they go to the pool or to the lake, and you just see them just all out. They just throw themselves into the water because they're just so excited for summer. And I just see this in Peter. He's just so excited. It's like, finally, there's Jesus. That's what I need. That's who I need. And so he recognized the Lord. And when they got to the land, Jesus had breakfast prepared for them. I believe this was the first time they'd had a meal with Jesus since his resurrection. I'm not sure. I didn't look that up. But what a beautiful meal that must have been. And then after this passage is when Jesus I asked Peter the question, 3 times, "Do you love me?" And Peter said, "Yes, Lord, I do." And he said to feed my sheep. But I wanted to look at the very end of that part of scripture in verse 19, the very last part of that. And it said, after saying this, he said to him, "Follow me." So I love that because that's how Jesus met Peter in the first place. Peter was out fishing and Jesus said, "Follow me." And Peter left all his fishing gear and he followed Jesus. So I think now maybe this is making sense to Peter. it's like without Jesus, none of this works. We got to follow him. And so I needed that reminder in my life that when this world is not making sense, even when I can't see what Jesus is doing and things just don't feel right, I can still trust what I know is true about him. And then I can follow him. So that's my encouragement to you today, is just keep following Jesus because he is there for us. Love you guys and hope to see you soon.